Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Namah Pranavarthaye Shuddha-jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karni Vishnunyam Devaha Bhadram Pashimakshabhir Yajatraha Sthirairangai Shashtuvagum Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashavaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Stakshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vit Pundarikam Birajam Vishuddham.
Vit Pundarikam
Birajam Vishuddham.
Chintya Madhye Vishadam Vishokam.
Vichintya Madhye Vishokam.
Chintyam Achintyam Avyaktam Ananta Rupam.
Achintyam Avyaktam Ananta Rupam.
Prashantam Amritam Brahma Yonim.
Shivam Prashantam Brahma Yonim.
Tathadi Madhyanta Vihinamekam.
Tathādimadhyāntamekam.
Vibhum Chidanandam Arupam Adbhutam.
Vibhum Chidanandam Arupam.
Masahayam Parameshwaram Prabhum.
Umasahayam Parameshwaram Prabhum.
Trilochanam Neelakantham Prashantam.
Trilochanam Neelakantham Prashantam.
Dhyatva Munir Gacchati Bhuta Yonim.
Dhyatva Munirgacchati Bhuta Yonim.
Samasta Sakshim Tamasapparastat.
Samasta Saksham Tamasapparastat.
The need for meditation on the self has been emphasized here. With the heart, antakarana, which is clear, without any doubt, one proceeds to do nididhyasanam. How can you do nididhyasanam with a pure heart? Only when one has done sufficient shravanam and mananam. Only then the clarity will come. That's why Vishadam, the antakarana is clear, Vishuddham as well. Raga Dvesha don't drive you because there is Shuddhi. All right, he says, Vichintya. Having Visheshana Dhyanam, done Visheshana Dhyanam on what? On the self. You've seen that meditation can be upon Saguna Brahman. But that Saguna Brahma meditation only reconfirms duality. I meditate upon my idea of Ishvara. So I only reconfirm duality. I am separate. The form of Ishvara on which I do dhyanam is separate. I do dhyanam very well. It's not a problem for me because my vritti pravaha, flow of thought, remains with the same thing. Sajatiya vritti pravaha. We do the same thing when we do puja. Although we do different actions, manasika, kaika, as well as vachika, everything is on that one Ishvara. So it is undisturbed flow of thought on that one Ishvara. So Saguna Brahma Upasana is also a form of prayer, worship. As long as we are in that mode, which means we are in duality mode, we are not going to get the vastu. Saguna Brahma Dhyanam implies duality. But that Saguna Brahma Dhyanam is necessary. I cannot directly do Dhyanam on Nirguna Brahman, on the self. How do I do Dhyanam on the self? The self which is of the nature of Vishadam, Vishokam, Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam. When I focus on my Ishta Devata, it could be Dakshinamurti. Then immediately my entire thought is on the Ashtalakshanam of Dakshinamurti. The fact that Dakshinamurti faces south. The fact that Dakshinamurti is supposed to be sitting under a Vatavriksham and giving that knowledge to the students. So you have an image, you have a visualization. But if you are wanting to do dhyanam on Nirguna Brahman, on myself, I cannot visualize. If I visualize, it becomes duality again. I and what I visualize. If I experience, sometimes people say I was in great dhyanam and experienced something or the other. If you experience something, again, you're only reconfirming duality. So you cannot visualize, you cannot experience, and it is on the self, which is all this Vishadam, Vishokam, which is Achintyam. I'm going to think about something which is Achintyam, which is Avyaktam, is not available for any form of perception. It's Anantarupam, everything is that only. How am I going to visualize, focus my mind on that one? My mind already has this great characteristic, keeps jumping from here to here to here to here. How am I going to keep it on one jati, svajati vritti pravaham? How am I going to maintain that? It is Bharupi. Anantarupam. Antaha yasya nasti. There is no end. Everything is that. That one which appears as many, as though many. How can I bring my mind back to that one in that many that I see? We are used to seeing variety. And we are comfortable with that idea. But in that variety, how do I see that one, ekam? As I told you yesterday, I only have to change my perspective. I need to be like the bullion trader in a gold shop, gold ornament shop. He only wants to know the weight. And he is not willing to pay because you gave it a name and a form. The jeweler gave it a name and a form. He only says 50,000 rupees, an ounce or gram or whatever it is, so many grams, so much money. But when the jeweler sells it to you, he will sell that plus for what he has done to give it the Namarupa. But he also knows that the Namarupa is useless. Because next day you take it back to him and say, look, I paid 10,000 rupees for the gold and 1,000 rupees for giving it this Namarupa. Please take it back. What do you think he'll give you? He'll give you what the gold value is. Where did the Namarupa go? Namarupa is illusory. So if one can see that ekam, he who sees that oneness amongst all this is buddhiman manushyeshu. So in spite of the anantarupam, I see only one. Because my vision is now that of a Vedanta. And he said that is Shivam. That one which is I. Once you have come down to saying that there is only that one, and you connect to the fact that I exist, the inevitable understanding, inevitable conclusion is that one has to be I, because I exist and there's only one, which appears as many. So what is the logical conclusion I can draw? I appear as many because I exist. Undeniably, I exist. And that I, which is the only one, ekam, becomes ananta rupam. It's like magic. How can that one become many? The magician knows. Mayavi, one who wields Maya, he knows. And the audience is awestruck. My God, how did that happen? Because they are not Mayavis. They are all under Brahma. Exactly as we are under Brahma. Mayam prakritim vidhyat Mayinam tu Maheshwaram. Maheshwaram, Paramatma, Parameshwara. He is the Mayavi. He wields that Maya. He knows this is only Maya. Like the magician knows, but what he shows to the audience is mind-boggling. It is not possible. It's a miracle. Till when? Till he explains the trick to you. When he explains the trick to you, there's no Maya. Because you know what has happened. Till we understand through the words of the Shastra unfolded by a Guru, how everything is only apparent and there is only one. Then you're also Mayavi. So you know the trick. Till then we have been tricked. Now you know the trick. All the many, we understand there is only one. And that one has to be I. There is no other option. If there is only one and I exist, the natural connection is that one has to be I. And that is Shivam. Mangalaswarupam. Pure, auspicious. And it's Prashantam. Totally tranquil. No disturbance. If there is no disturbance, how did the entire world come about? Maya. Now you connect Maya. From that one, which is I, which is totally tranquil, Prashantam, if it has to appear as many, there has to be another order of reality. There has to be some form of magical illusion. From an apparently empty hat, the magician pulls out a rabbit. How? Maya. Absolutely undisturbed. You know, in cricket these days, they have this, what do they call it? Hotspot, no. Something which, as the ball passes the bat, they'll give you the signal. For a caught behind, if there is no disturbance in the signal, it is not at the bat, not out. In I, there is only a flat line. There is no movement. So I'm never out. I'm always there. I am that Mayavi. And I'm Amritam. That Mayavi, I cannot be appearing at a certain point in time and dissolving some other point of time. The body can, the mind can, everything else in the Jagat can, but I cannot. I am the absolute. And I am the very cause of everything. As though the whole variety of things appearing in the world, the cause has to be I. Now, Brahma Yonim. Yoni means womb, literally. You can look at it in two ways. The word Brahma Yonim in the Brahma Yoni, one is, I look at it as Ishvara, from where Brahmaji appeared and from where everything else appeared, still under duality. I have seen Ishvara as Brahma Yoni because Brahmaji appeared from Ishvara. He remained in this Jagat. Brahmaji is in the Jagat only for a kalpa. When the kalpa finished, that Brahmaji goes, new kalpa, another Brahmaji comes. And everything else born. Or you can think of it as the dreamer. The dreamer's nya, dhatu, from which the whole Jagat springs, as though. So Brahma Yonim can mean both Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. What is the difference between Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman? Saguna Brahman is what we call Ishvara, within the Jagat. And within the Jagat is also Jiva, the Jivatma. How did that Ishvara appear from Brahman? Because everything has to come from Brahman. Because of this elusive thing called Maya. In Samashti, where everything is known. And from the same Brahman, the Jivatma appeared. The same Brahman is I. And that's from the same Brahman through another form of Upadhi or multiple forms of Upadhi, the Jivatmas, as though there are many, appeared. I know only what I can see. How am I going to separate the Upadhi from Brahman? It is not like dehusking rice. The rice is there, husk is there. I don't see the rice, but I can dehusk the rice and put the husk separately. Let blow the rice husk away after pounding. The rice remains, husk remains. It's a physical separation. But how am I going to separate Brahman from all the Upadhis? Without the Upadhi, you can't even see the Brahman, because you're also part of the same thing. So how can you understand? Only through the Pramana Shastra. Always goes with the Guru. With that Pramana, when you allow the Pramana to act, one can not physically, but in understanding, separate the two and be able to visualize Brahman. Every gold ornament with various forms, names, and multiple uses, I see only gold. I also see the form. I don't necessarily have to separate them. I don't have to destroy the form to see the gold. I can melt the whole lot into one big lump of gold and say, now I see gold. I don't have to do that. I see all these multiple things in this world. I don't have to physically separate it out and then see the vastu, Brahman. And once I see the vastu, the rest of the upadhi don't go away. They are there. They are very much there. Like the bullion trader walks into the gold jewelry shop, he sees all the jewelry. He also has an idea, this looks beautiful, this doesn't look beautiful, this looks crude, this is well polished, this is not well polished. But what he sees is gold. So with the help of the pramana, we also see the vastu, which is the Brahma Yoni. And the nature of vastu. Remember, all this very interestingly, you will notice all second case, Vishadam, Vishokam, Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam, all are second case. Dhyatva, no, that will come later. Vichintya, thinking about what? That which is Achintyam, which is Avyaktam, which is Anantarupam. All of them, and the nature of this, nature of the I, Brahman, is Tatha Adi Madhya Anta Vihinam. No beginning, no middle, no end. Arjuna physically saw this. We can't even imagine this. Arjuna was able to see this physically because Bhagavan gave him the blessing to see this. And how did he get this blessing? The grace of Ishvara has to be earned. To be able to see this, the grace of Ishvara has to be earned in the form of punya. In the form of punya, which results not in your going to Svargaloka, but in the form of punya, which gives you the clarity. Vishada, Vishadaha, Vishuddhaha, which allows you the ability to not be led by the nose by Ragadvesha. To be Shanta with Ishvara's grace, which has to be earned. That is where duality becomes very important in the seeking. Unless I can reach out to Ishvara, I will always be a disturbed person because my mind is disturbed. That's the nature of the mind. I don't have the ability to take to one topic and stay there for a length of time. I'm already one who's got these disturbances. Therefore, umpire will declare me out. Caught behind. Out of what? Out of the ability to gain the jnanam. So Ishvara's grace becomes really important. That is what Arjuna earned. Arjuna earned that by submitting himself totally to Lord Krishna. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Please teach me. How can you visualize something which has no beginning, no end? I can only see, as far as I can see, there is no beginning. As far as I can see, there is no end, but that doesn't mean there is no beginning or no end. My seeing is limited. Similarly, my thinking is limited in terms of time. I can only see as far back as I can. What happened before me? How do I see? What will happen after I die? How will I see? To me, the mountain looks permanent, but it is not. Mountain came up at a time and is constantly changing. And at some point of time, it will go away. Very large lengths of time. Geological time. When two continents come and meet, like if you have a tablecloth and push it on both sides, you will get these mountains. That's how mountains form. One variety of mountains form. There's a date and time when it will form. Even today, it is said that the Mount Everest is 29,000 odd feet, is increasing by 3 inches every day, every year. So my perception are limited. How am I going to see that which is without beginning, without end? So one has to only understand that this is sarvavyapi, not limited by space. It is trikala atitaha, not limited by time, nor by any vastu. Desha kala vastu aparichinnaha, not limited by any of these. You can only understand it. Adi madhya anta vihinam, without any beginning, without any end, without any middle. And ekam, we have talked more about this. He who sees that ekam is buddhiman. He who sees the multiple is still under Brahma. Almost every text will tell you this in one form or the other. There is Samana Adhikaranam. Every text will tell you the same thing. Repeatedly, because one time I'm told Trikala Atitaha, it doesn't register. One time it's told Sarva Vyapi, I can only think within space. So again and again in different forms, different ways. When this is brought out, one begins to understand like Arjuna did. Even after the Vishwarupa Darshanam, Arjuna kept on asking the same question. It takes time. That's why Bhagavan very carefully says, if you keep at it, Achirena Adhikachati. He doesn't say you will get today or tomorrow or next year. Only says before long. And that is Vibhum. Ekam, no dvitiya. Indivisible. Like Akasha, as far as the Laukika understanding is concerned. But can be apparently divided. You have a ghata, within that there's space. You can say that is ghatakasha. In a room there is space, that is room space. But is that divided? There is no division. Apparently divided. There is only one indivisible whole. This indivisible whole seems to manifest itself in multiple forms. This is Vibhum. I am Vibhum. Once you've connected very clearly that there is only one Ekam and that I exist and the two have to be the same, Tattvamasi, you have to be Vibhu. Vividam bhati iti Vibhu, tam Vibhum. Chit Ananda Rupam. Ananda that we know, we connect with, at every level is limited Ananda. That's all the Ananda we know. That's why Taittiriya Upanishad has a whole section called Anandavalli. Keeps on saying, you take this Ananda, multiply it by 100, that becomes another Ananda, you take that Ananda, multiply by 100, that becomes another Ananda. 100 raised to the power 9 of a basic unit of Ananda, which is a Yuva, strong, very sharp, has all the wealth in the world. That fellow's Ananda is one unit of Ananda. It may be multiplied by any number of times, it still remains finite. That's all the Ananda we know. Other than Ananda Ravi. Only Ananda we know. But here when he says, Chit Ananda Rupam, very Swarupa of Ananda. Tikakara calls it Swayam Prakashamana Niratishaya Anandam. Absolute Ananda. Every Ananda we know is limited. When we gain a little bit of Ananda, a lesha of Ananda, because of contact with any vastu, any relationship, any other being, etc., that Ananda is only a minor reflection of myself, my Swarupa. And because it is only a lesha, a very, very minor reflection, it comes and goes. That is not the Ananda that I am searching for. Chidananda Rupam. Chidananda Rupa Swarupam. Shivoham Shivoham. I am that absolute. And it is an absolute matter of wonder. It is a wonder before I know, because it looks like a miracle. How is it possible? And then once a person understands, it's a wonder, because how the heck did I not see it before? So obvious. Why is it that all the others not able to see it? Adbhutam. So people look at it as something either beyond them and try to deny things that the thing cannot exist without thinking through. Or when they get convinced that it can exist, it looks absolutely awesome. Still looks adbhutam. And after sufficient shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, when the person gets it, it is still adbhutam. What was I doing all these years? Why didn't I see it so clear and obvious? It's like writing on the wall. It is also adbhutam. All this, like I said, still in the second case. We haven't come to a verb yet. Vishadam, Vishokam, Achintyam, Abhyaktam, Anantarupam, Shivam, Prashantam, Amritam, Brahmayonim, Adi Madhyanta Vihinam, Ekam, Vibhum, Chidananda Rupam, Adbhutam. Then what? This Nirguna Brahma Upasana, Nididhyasanam, is the only way to understand the nature of the self. But it is not possible. It is achintyam. How am I going to do chintanam? In the same verse, we say vichintya. Vichintya what? All this. Having done chintanam, all this. And it is achintyam. How can you do chintanam, all this, which is achintyam? It is not available for thoughts. It is not available for, not vyakta. It's not an object, it's I. Therefore, in the next verse, Brahmaji says, you can start by doing meditation on Saguna Brahman. You can choose the Saguna Brahman. That is what is called Ishtadevata. And pray that I gain the capacity to understand this. I pray to the Saguna Brahman. I do Saguna Brahma Upasana, meditation, worship, prayer. Please help me understand. Because I have already reached a level of clarity saying that it is possible. Adi Madhya Antavihinam is possible. Ekam is possible. That Ekam has to be I is possible. Hey, my Ishtadevata, please help make it happen. So I do dhyanam on Ishtadevata. Dakshinamurti, Lord Krishna. And since everything is Ishvara, I can take anything as my Ishtadevata. I can do meditation on fire. I can do meditation on anything. I can worship any object in the world. Living, non-living, doesn't matter. This is what the whole philosophy is. Every ancient religion did that. People didn't understand, and this depth of understanding was not there. They needed a symbol and stopped at the symbol. They didn't realize I'm praying to that Ishvara in whatever form, in order to get to the state where I can understand that ātmatattva, I. So they get stopped there. So Brahmaji tells Arshavidyalaya, you can do upasana on Lord Shiva. All of yesterday we've been doing that on Lord Shiva. Says what? Uma sahayam parameshwaram prabhum trilochanam neelakantham prashantam. He's still on the second case. He hasn't got out to telling us what to do, or what will happen when you do. Uma sahayam. This whole Jagat comes about because of a combination of Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti is also called Shakti, it's called Maya. And that's why we have Ardhanarishvara. There is Purusha and there is Prakriti. Purusha, if you understand as a Nirguna Brahman, can do nothing. It is avikara. I am avikara. But with the Maya Shakti represented as Parvati or Uma, I have this samathyam to create this whole Jagat. So Uma Sahayam, Uma is Parvati. We saw also in Kaivalya Upanishad how Uma appears, the Jnanam appears in the form of Uma and teaches Indradi. There's a nice, very nice story we read. How all these people are partying after victory and how Uma in the form of Yaksha came and showed them fire cannot burn one single piece of dry grass. Air cannot blow off that one single piece of dry grass with all the power that they have. Uma Sahayam, that power, that Shakti by which Srishti and Sthiti take place. Remember, Srishti, Sthiti are all another order of reality. Because that Uma Sahayam is also another order of reality. Uma Sahayam. The consort of Lord Shiva, the partner of Lord Shiva in the creation of the Jagat. If you assume Lord Shiva as Purusha and Mata Parvati as the Prakriti, the Shakti. That's why in all forms of prayer, Devi Upasana is prayed to as Shakti. Shakti is the samarthyam to create, to sustain. Ma Sahayam. Because Nirguna Brahman, there can be no visualization, there can be no experience. I need something on which I can focus a visualization. Therefore, he's saying, Uma Sahayam Parameshwaram. Ishvara is one, is the Lord. Lord of everything. Every form of Devata we know has a Lord. Even Indra has Brihaspati on top of him. But Parameshwara, one who has no Ishvara on top. All the power and no control, no responsibility. Wow, very difficult situation. This is what all the politicians want. All power, no accountability. Because there is no Ishvara. Parameshwara, one of the names for Lord Shiva is Anishvara, for whom there is no Ishvara. That Parameshwara, very difficult situation. Because that Parameshwara then has to be a self-controlled. There is no Parameshwara. Eventually we know that. But in the form that we are looking at, has to be his own self-regulatory mechanism. His current government is trying to do something like that with a lot of people to whom power has been given. There are no checks and balances. You have to put in those yourself. Parameshwaram. Parameshwaraha tam. Prabhum. Prakrishena bhati. We saw Vibhum. Vividam bhati. Everything is shining because of what? Which shines in the form of everything. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Prabhu. Prabhuhu tam. Prakrishena bhati. Swayambhu. That which is revealed only by itself. Doesn't require another source. Prabhu. And who is this? Trilochanam. Lochana is eye. And Lord Shiva supposed to have 3 eyes. And represented in various forms, past, present, future. But also the eye which opens, the third eye which opens, can burn anything. You know the story of how Tarakasura was creating mayhem in the world of the various devatas. And nobody could get rid of him, destroy him. So all the devatas and rishis went to Brahmaji. They said, look, I can't do anything. Nobody could do anything. They all said, how do I get rid of him, this Tarakasura? He said, the only way is for Lord Shiva to marry Parvati. He is not even married at that time. Beget a son, and that son will be the instrument by which Tarakasura will be destroyed. How do you get Lord Shiva who is an ascetic to marry? Parvati has been doing tapas, insisting that she will only marry Lord Shiva. She is doing tapas somewhere. Lord Shiva is in deep meditation. All these devatas wanted to speed up this process. Somehow wake him up. God knows how long he'll be in meditation. Dhyanam. How do we wake him up? How do we make him want to fall in love with Parvati? So they sent the Lord of love, with all his attendant spring season, celestial damsels. And they were all afraid to disturb Lord Shiva. They didn't know what will happen if he wakes up abruptly from his meditation. So hiding behind a branch of a tree, he shoots an arrow with flower. There are a lot of description on this, very interesting to read. And Lord Shiva's meditation is disturbed. He wakes up very cross. Who disturbed my meditation? And he sees this fellow with the arrow and bow. He opens his third eye and burns him to ashes and smears that ash all over his body. Lochanam. Very many songs about this Lochana. Ashtadash Lochanena. 18 eyes, because there are 6 faces. Shanmukha. Shadmukha. 18 eyes. So Trilochanam. Still talking about Dvitiya only. He's not come to saying, do what? We will see that in the next class. What do you want to do with Umasahayam, Parameshwaram, Prabhum? Very clearly talking about Shiva, Trilochanam, Neelakantham, Prashantam. We will look at what all of these and what he is saying will happen because of the verb by next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Swami G.